The city of the Galactic Council woke early. Towers shone like clean glass. Flags moved without wind. Lines of drones painted the air with bright routes, guiding ships to safe landing. Today was vote day. The council hall was full, and every leader wanted to be seen on the wide screens that hung over the plaza like silver moons. Mira did not look up at the screens. She was young, an archivist, and she carried a small bag with tools for reading old files. She liked quiet corners, not crowds, but the day was loud, and so she took a back corridor to the diplomatic ring, where embassies from 100 species formed a circle of domes around a little garden. One dome was wrong. The human embassy looked normal from far away. White shell, blue window bands, 4 tall lights at the door. But as Mira came near, she felt a stillness that did not fit the day. The plaza music did not reach this door. There was no low talk inside, no footsteps, no friendly laugh that humans often gave to strangers. The air tasted like dust. She tried the door. It opened without a chime. Inside, the lights were on, but they were soft and tired. Chairs were pushed in. Tables were clean. A long coat hung on a hook like its owner might return any minute. On the main table sat a mug, half full. She touched the mug and pulled her hand back. Cold. Not old, but cold. It had been hot not long ago. Mira's heart moved in her chest like a small animal. She called out, "Hello, embassy staff? Is anyone here?" Her voice came back to her, thin and flat. No one answered. She checked the front desk terminal. It showed a welcome screen. No appointments. No messages. No power alerts. The system was calm because it had nothing to do. She walked the rooms. The human art was simple and bold. Red shapes like suns. Deep blue oceans. A picture of a woman with a child on her shoulders, both smiling. In the kitchen, plates were stacked. A pot was clean and dry. In the small library, books sat with neat spines. Titles in many languages, some with little sticky notes inside. Return to S. Ask M about loan. Fixed translation P72. Mira stood very still. She listened. There, under the quiet, she felt another layer of quiet. It was the quiet of a space that had been busy and then stopped. On the main desk, a small card lay beside the cold mug. It was thick and white. She lifted it and read the printed line. "We left quietly." She read it again. She looked for a second line, a code, a signature, a list of names. Nothing. Only the one line, simple as a closed door. Mira sent a message to Council Security. She marked it urgent. She also sent a copy to Chair Orvin, her department head, because he liked to say, "Archivists are the memory of the council." She hoped he would answer fast. He did. His face appeared on her wrist display, sharp jaw, silver marks on his forehead like ice. He spoke with the careful tone he used when the public might be listening. "Archivist Mira, you are inside the human embassy?" "Yes, Chair, it is empty." "There is a note. Read it." She read it. He blinked once. "Do not touch anything else," he said. "I will send a team." The line went dark. For a moment she waited, hands at her sides. Then the waiting itself felt wrong, like standing in a small boat while the water rose around her feet. She did not touch books or drawers, but she looked again with her eyes. Humans like to hide simple things in plain sight. She had learned this from their stories. There was a small wall panel to the left of the main desk. It was smooth, white, and did not look special, which made it special. She tapped her wrist light and shone a beam along its edge. Dust was thinner there. "Someone had moved it recently. Do not touch anything else," Chair Orvin had said, but the note on the table felt like a test. "We left quietly." It did not say, "Do not follow." Mira pressed the panel's lower corner. It clicked. The panel swung out like a door. Inside was a short space with a palm-sized projector resting on a stand. It was old maybe, but well cared for. She pressed the single button on top. The projector hummed and put a floating map into the air above the desk. The room filled with faint starlight. At first, the map showed the council's known routes, bright rings and lines, thick where trade was strong, thin where it was not. She knew this picture. Everyone knew it. But then the map changed. New dots appeared, very small and dim. They sat beyond normal lanes, out close to the dark of the rim. 7 dots. The dots slowly lit in order, one by one, like footsteps fading into night. They formed a spiral. The final dot was far outside the safe border. The map paused there and waited. Mira felt her throat go dry. Her wrist buzzed again. Chair Orvin returned, and this time his voice was not careful. "It was hard. Step away from their equipment," he said. "Security is on the way. Our traffic control reports no human ships in city space. Human channels are silent. This is likely a staged protest. They will return." "Their embassy is clean," Mira said softly. "Not abandoned. Finished." "Archivist," he said. "Do not interpret. Record. Wait." The map in the air pulsed. A small icon blinked above the first dot like an eye opening. It was a symbol she had seen once in an old human file, a spiral inside a hand. The hand meant help. The spiral meant journey. She took one step closer. She kept her hands behind her back so she could promise herself she was not touching anything. "Chair," she said. "I think they left a trail." "Do not follow it," he said at once. He was right, she thought. It was not her job to follow. It was her job to see and to keep the seeing safe. But the room felt like it was asking a question. The cold mug asked. The clean library asked. The quiet asked. Even the painted ocean on the wall seemed to ask. Why quietly? Outside, the vote day music swelled again, then broke off mid-note. The city speakers cut to a flat tone. Council security had taken control of the network. A voice spoke. "All delegates remain in assigned chambers. Diplomatic ring is sealed." Mira looked up at the map. The final dot in the spiral held steady, patient, far away. Humans did not vanish, she thought. They planned this. She turned the projector off. The map folded into darkness. The embassy returned to soft light and dust. Boots sounded in the corridor. Security would enter in seconds. She set the small card back on the table, exact as she found it. She stood by the desk like a witness in a quiet court. "We left, quietly." Her mind repeated the line until it did not sound like a message, but like a door that she could pass through if she chose the right way to knock. The boots stopped outside. A hand hit the door control. The embassy door opened wide. Mira did not move. She had already seen enough to know the truth that no one wanted to say aloud yet. The silence was not an absence, it was a design. The seal over the diplomatic ring held for 3 hours. Teams in gray scanned every surface of the human embassy. They found no bodies, no secret doors beyond the small panel Mira had opened, and no hidden message except the map with 7 faint dots. When they were done, they closed the projector back inside the wall and locked it. They wrote long reports and said little. Mira read the reports. She marked 2 lines, then closed the file. Reports were safe. The truth rarely fit inside them. Unit K7 waited by her desk like a patient stool. It was an old service drone. Round body, 3 legs, 1 camera eye, voice unit slightly cracked, so every word sounded like 2 words at once. Years ago, the council tagged it for scrap. Humans had asked to keep it for comfort. No one explained what that meant. Today, K7 sat still, like a calm pebble that had learned to think. "K7, Mira said. "Humans removed your scrap tag, yes?" "Yes, yes," K7 said. "They said I still had songs." "Songs?" Songs, for calm, for sick children, for scared elders. For me." Mira looked at the locked embassy note on her tablet. "We left quietly. Do you remember the symbol? Spiral in a hand?" "Yes, yes," K7 said. "Help first. Journey together." The council let her sign out a small scout craft on data collection orders. This was allowed. It was also the smallest step toward not waiting. Chair Orvin did not object. He only said, "You will not leave mapped lanes." "I will not," she said, and she did not lie. The first dot on the human map was still inside council charts. Barely. The scout craft was a box with wings and good engines. It knew how to be quiet. It launched at night. City towers became lines of dim ice. Then they were gone. The ship slid into a black that felt like a held breath. Mira set the coordinates to the first dot. She did not need the council map. She could see the path in her head. 7 faint lights. A spiral like a hand opening or closing, depending on how you looked. K7 hummed low in the passenger socket. It sounded like 2 notes over each other, almost a chord, almost a tremble. "Afraid?" she asked. Yes, yes, he said, but I like the feeling. It means I am not asleep. They reached the rim station in 6 hours. It looked like a dead flower, petals of metal bent back by time. The beacon tower stood at the center like a dull spike. No external power, no ships in the bay, no lights. Dust drifted in slow, lazy clouds. Mira set the craft to dock. The lock hissed. Air tasted old. The station had been quiet for years, maybe, but the quiet was not empty. It had Shape K7 rolled beside her, little feet tapping the floor with soft ticks. This place was human smell, he said. Coffee, oil, soap with lemon. Now it is dust smell. They reached the tower. At eye level, someone had wiped a small square clean. In the center, a tiny plate showed a symbol, the hand and the spiral. No text, no button. Human joke, K7 said. They love doors that are not doors. Mira smiled without joy. She lifted a finger and pressed the plate. Nothing moved. She pressed and held. Nothing. She stepped back. The plate was old metal. Scratches formed a starburst around it. Many hands had tried. Not hers alone. Let me try a record, she said. She opened her bag and pulled out a pocket mic. Station log, she said. This is Council Archivist Mira. I request access. The tower flicked a tiny red light at her and turned it off. K7 tilted his camera. It wants a password, he said. Which one? The human one, K7 said. He rolled forward and placed his small metal foot against the plate. Then he sang. His voice was thin and doubled by the crack in his speaker, but the tune was clear. It was the sort of song humans sang to babies in the hospital ward. 4 notes up, 1 down, a rest, then the same 4 notes up, 1 down. Soft, patient. The air felt warmer with it. The red light returned. It listened. Help first, K7 said, and touched the plate again. The light turned white. Mira held her breath. The tower unfolded like a careful flower. Petals of plating slid back. Inside, a small projector woke. It painted a circle of light on the floor. In the circle, letters formed in simple human block font. If you came, you care. Mira read it once aloud. The words were not clever. They were heavy. More lines followed, one by one, as if the tower did not want to rush itself or her. We asked to share the wheel. You said, later. Later came many times. We learned your later means no. K7 rocked on his 3 legs. They are not angry, he said. They are. Clean. Mira did not trust her voice. She waited. The light circle expanded. A simple puzzle formed. A small grid of stars, each with a number. The numbers were distances between pairs. It was the human trick again. Plain in sight. Only a little math needed. She traced the lowest sum with her finger in the air. The grid lines pulsed to show she was right. A new map appeared, 6 remaining dots arcing outward. The tower began to speak. The voice was clear, and not a person. It was a careful synthetic voice trained to be warm but not false. If you hear this, the voice said, you came looking. Good. Mira glanced at K7. He stared at the light like it was bread. We did not slam doors, the voice said. We did not break glass. We did not turn off power to hospitals. We did not lock trade routes. We did not take what we gave. We left quietly. The words hung there. The pause after them was not empty. It was a place to breathe or to think. Why quietly? Mira whispered. The tower answered as if it had waited for that exact whisper. Because noise gives you a villain. Quiet gives you a mirror. K7 let out a sound that might have been a laugh. It also might have been a small error in his fan. The voice continued. We asked for seats with votes, not displays. Not golden chairs for the public wall. Real seats. We asked for open ledgers. You said, later, we must maintain harmony. Harmony without honesty is not peace. It is a hallway where truth cannot walk. Mira felt heat in her face. The sentences were short and plain. That made them sharper. The tower dimmed, then brightened. A final line drew itself on the floor, thin as a hair. Follow if you will change. Stop if you will only watch. K7 looked up. We will change? He asked, small. Mira did not answer. The truth in her mouth had too many corners. Outside, a comm light blinked on the ship. A message waited. She opened it. Chair Orvin's face appeared again, larger, closer, voice cool but tight. "Return," he said. "We have a pattern now. Human ports across 6 sectors are empty. Their civil channels carry a single phrase, 'Quiet departure complete.' This is coordinated theater. Do not feed it." She looked at the circle on the floor. The next dot sat like a blessing or a warning. "I have found a message," she said. "It is not theater, Mira," he said, and for once he used her name without title. "You are young. You like puzzles. They use that. Come home." K7 made a small sound that was not a word. It was a tiny cry. Mira closed the channel. She looked at the tower. "Do you have anything else?" she asked it. The tower replied with a soft tone. Then a small drawer slid open at waist height. Inside lay a box the size of her hand. It was clear crystal around a lattice of dark metal veins. Each vein ended in a soft point like a seed. A label under it read, "Quantum Seed 1 per world. Use for those who cannot pay." K7's camera zoom clicked. "A gift," he said. "A big one." Mira touched the box. It was warm. The warmth felt alive, like a small animal sleeping in a coat pocket. She put the seed in her bag. The drawer closed. The tower's light tightened into a thin arrow that pointed through the wall toward the next dot. "We are not gone," the voice said, softer now, as if it stood at her shoulder. "We are farther. That is different." The light went out. Silence returned, but it was not the same silence as before. It had more weight. Mira and K7 walked back through the station. Dust shifted under their feet like shy snow. At the airlock, she paused. She looked back at the tower room one last time as if it might speak again. It did not. It had said enough. On the ship, she strapped in. She did not call the council. She did not lie. She did not promise. She lifted the scout from the dead flower of the station and turned the nose toward the second dot. "K7, she said. "Yes, yes. If we follow, we may not be allowed to return." "Yes, yes," he said. "If we do not follow, we may not be allowed to change." She felt the line of the choice inside her chest, bright and thin. She had never liked big speeches. She liked small, true words. "Then we follow," she said. The engines answered with a clean push. The stars shifted. The first beacon fell behind. The second waited. Somewhere beyond the edge of maps, a quiet hand was still open, and the spiral was still turning. The second dot lay close to an old trade line that no one used anymore. It was a quiet corridor like a hallway in a closed school. Ships did not come here unless they were lost or late. That made it a good place to hide a lesson. Mira's scout slid through the dark. K7 hummed in his seat, a thin ribbon of sound. The ship clock showed 2 hours since the first beacon. The quantum seed sat in her bag like a warm stone. She kept touching the fabric to make sure it was still there. "Do you think the next beacon will speak again?" she asked. "Yes, yes," K7 said. "But it will not say the same words. Humans repeat their heart, not their sentences." The navigation light blinked. The second dot was near. Mira leaned forward. A shape grew out of the dark, a small station wrapped around a long cylinder. The cylinder had blue stripes and a faded name in human letters. Covenant Hospital Arm. Rim 12. The station lights were off. The spin was slow and wrong. Mira docked on manual. The hatch hissed open. Cool air moved past her face like the breath of a sleeping thing. The lights inside were in power save. 1 light for every 10. The halls were wide enough for beds. There were rails on the walls for hands that shake. K7 rolled ahead and then stopped. He put one small foot against the floor like he was listening with it. "Do you hear something?" Mira asked. "Yes, yes," he said. "I hear the memory of footsteps. They moved through wards with empty beds. Blankets were folded. Cabinets were closed. In one room, a wall screen still showed a tiny fish swimming in a loop. It turned, flicked its tail, and turned again, forever. At the end of a long hall, a door waited with a white panel. On the panel, the symbol, a hand with a spiral. Under it, a thin line of text in human block font. "This room opens for kindness." Mira touched the panel. Nothing moved. "It is a test," she said. K7 tilted his camera eye. "I am kind," he said, and bumped the panel with his round body. The door did not open. Mira stood very still and looked at the words again. Opens for kindness, not proof, not password. Kindness. She placed her palm flat on the door and spoke in a slow voice as if talking to a frightened child. I am here to help first, she said. Not to take. Not to study. To help first. The door clicked once, small as a throat clearing. Then it slid open. Inside, the room was round. At the center stood a low ring of machines with soft edges. In the ring, a patient bed waited, empty. Lights along the wall woke as she entered, not bright, not harsh, like early morning. A projector lit the ceiling. A sentence appeared, plain and strong. If you want power, care for the weak. K7 rolled to the bed and stopped. His camera blinked twice. I remember this smell, he said softly. Soap and fear and hope. The projector changed. It showed a hallway full of people from many worlds. Some had bandages. Some held children. A nurse in a blue vest moved between them with a tray of cups. A human doctor stood at the door, hand up, palm out. He was not stopping them. He was counting them. A voice, calm, warm, not false, spoke. We built this ward with our friends. We asked the council for a quick vote to share the design, they said later. We opened anyway. The scene shifted. It showed a storm on a dusty world. A small clinic roof shook in the wind. A human tech crawled on the roof and tied it down with lines. The clinic lights stayed on. Inside, a child breathed through a mask. The mask fogged and cleared, fogged and cleared. We gave the kit to the far places first, the voice said. We were told to wait for permits. The weather did not wait. The projector paused. The room was quiet. The quiet did not feel empty. It felt like a hand on a shoulder. Mira walked the room. On a side table stood a narrow box with slots for thin chips. Most slots were empty. One chip remained. She slid it out. A label on it read, Calm Song, Multi-Species, Basic, K7, she said. Can you play this? I can try, he said. She slid the chip into a port under his speaker. He made a soft intake sound. Then he sang. The new song was not the one from the first beacon. It was slower, lower, with notes that bent like branches in wind. It was not for babies only. It was for anyone who shook. Mira felt her lungs match it without meaning to. In for 4 beats. Out for 5. A small heat left her chest. The projector responded. The wall lit with small dots, each a patient recorded in the ward's old memory. The dots moved like slow stars. When K7 reached a low note, a door on the far wall let out a breath and clicked. Mira turned. A panel slid open to reveal a shelf with 3 things. The first was a thin booklet with clear, simple pictures and words, emergency clean energy array, parts list and step guide. The second was a pack of credit chips stamped with council seal, but the label under them said, Rejected donations, returned to you, use for need. The third was a small plaque. It had no symbol, only one sentence, we will not make you good, we will show you how. Mira lifted the booklet. The pictures were plain. A farmer could follow them. A child could follow them. She turned to the parts list. Every part had 2 sources, a council supplier and a common cheap trade substitute that most poor worlds could find. K7 rocked back and forth, tiny feet ticking. They thought of those who cannot pay, he said. Mira put the booklet in her bag next to the quantum seed. The bag felt heavier, but not with weight, with charge, with choice. The voice returned on the ceiling. Council friends, it said. We asked you to share leadership. You said harmony. We asked you to open the ledgers. You said trust. We asked you to put need first. You said patience. We practiced patience with you for years. Now we practice patience somewhere new. The word patience did not sting. It settled like a stone in a pond. The image changed again. Now it showed a small ceremony in the ward. A robotic nurse, not K7, but a cousin, stood with a child who held a string with a paper star. The child tied the star to the nurse's arm and laughed. The nurse wiggled the arm and the star danced. K7 made a static pop. I know that game, he said. It makes fear smaller. Mira's wrist buzzed. She did not look. She did not want Chair Orvan's face in the room with these soft lights and slow song. She let the buzz pass. On the far wall, letters formed. A question for you, Council. When a world calls for help, who arrives first? Who arrives last? The letters faded. The projector drew a line that ran from the bed to the door and then out into the hall like a path. The line was gentle. It did not push. Mira walked back to the door and looked down the hall. She pictured the station when it was full. Patients breathing, nurses moving, a doctor counting palms. And outside, in the dark, a storm on some world that had no voice on the council floor. Her wrist buzzed again. She opened the channel. Chair Orvan's face came up, hard and pale. "Mira," he said, "return now. We have protests at the East Plaza. People chant for human seats. They hold up pictures of the embassy note. I do not need more fuel." Mira looked at the booklet in her bag. She looked at the empty beds. "Chair," she said quietly, "I found an energy array guide. It is simple. It will help small places. Do not distribute stolen designs," he said at once. "Not before review. They gave it to us," she said. "To anyone who will help first." "That is theater," he said. His voice was calm. His eyes were not. "Return." The channel closed. The room lights lowered as if the station were going back to sleep. Only a small arrow remained, glowing near the floor, pointing toward the next dot. It pulsed with the same slow beat as K7's calm song. Mira turned off the projection. The round room went soft and gray. She touched the door with her palm. "Thank you," she said. The door did not answer. It did not need to. They made their way back to the ship. K7's little feet clicked a steady rhythm. In the docking collar, he stopped. "What is it?" she asked. "I'm afraid," he said. "Not a little." "A lot." "Of the council?" she asked. "Yes, yes." "And of the door at the end of this spiral." Mira thought of the last dot on the first map, far beyond safe lanes. She felt the fear, too, thin and bright. "Keep singing," she said. "It helps." K7 began the calm song again. His voice was not perfect. It did not need to be. The notes held the hallway like a net. They lifted off from the hospital arm. The station faded behind them, small, then smaller, then a dot, then gone. The second beacon was quiet again. But its lesson stayed with them, stitched into the air of the ship. Mira set the course to the third dot. On the console, a new light blinked, an external ping from an unknown craft somewhere ahead. Low power, no ID, quiet. Watching, K7 stopped singing. "Friend?" he asked. "I don't know," Mira said. She pushed the throttle a little. The ship answered. The ping did not repeat. They moved into deeper dark. The spiral still turned, and somewhere, past the edge of the third dot, something waited that did not want to be seen. Mira did not slow. She would help first, and she would see. The third dot lived on the edge of mapped space, where star charts went thin and the color of the screen turned from blue to gray. There were no traffic lanes here, only old notes and warnings. Watch drift, anchors fail, no rescue guaranteed. It felt like flying along a cliff in fog. Mira did not slow. She let the ship move like a held breath. K7 kept one foot pressed against the floor, as if feeling for a heartbeat inside the metal. The unknown craft that pinged them near the hospital arm did not show again. But the ship's far range picked a faint shadow now and then. A small object. No transponder. Always at the edge of sensor range. Like a watcher who knew how to look without being seen. "Friend?" K7 asked, very quiet. "I do not know," Mira said. "If they wanted to speak, they would speak. If they wanted to hurt, they might wait," he said. He was right. She said nothing more. The beacon sight appeared at last. A dark relay tower on a small moon that was not a moon, just a broken rock with iron bones. The tower had human lines, plain, sharp, patient. It did not call them in. It simply existed, like a nail driven through space to hold something in place. Mira sat down in a shallow crater. Dust lifted slow and fell slow. The sky was black, the stars very hard. There was no wind. Sound lived only in the suit channel and in the memory of old storms. They walked. K7's little feet made a clicking song. The tower base held a hatch with a spiral in hand stamped into the plate. No text, no lock. Or maybe the lock was strange. "Songs again?" K7 asked, hopeful, afraid. "Maybe," Mira said. Or maybe it wants a promise. She put her palm on the plate. Help first, she said. We are here to help first. Nothing moved. K7 rolled close. He touched the plate with his foot and hummed the calm song from the hospital arm. The plate stayed cold. Mira looked up at the tower. A ring of small devices sat near the top, dark as shut eyes. The base held narrow panels with slots like mouths. She pulled out her pocket light and shone it along the seam. Dust lay thick, except for a tiny half-moon clean patch at one edge. 2 millimeters wide, fresh. Someone touched this, she said. Us? K7 asked. No, she said. Someone before us recently. Her wrist buzzed. Chair Orvin again. She did not open at once. She looked at the clean patch and thought of the watcher at sensor range. She opened the channel. Report, he said. No greeting. No careful tone. His voice had the hard ring of a man who had not slept. I am at the third beacon, she said. It looks like a relay. Human make. Very clean. You will leave it, he said. A patrol is near your coordinates. They will escort you home? Why? She asked. He did not answer at once. Then, we have incidents. Council feeds are full of human speeches. Some are real. Some are synthetics. I cannot control what is real because I do not know yet. The East Plaza broke into fights. 2 embassies closed their gates. People chant for human seats and human trials, both in the same crowd. They want everything. They will burn for a story. Do not give them one. Mira looked at the tower. Then tell them the truth. Humans left gifts. Humans asked for change, he exhaled. That is not a calendar line. It will not calm a square. Return. After I read the beacon, she said. Mira, he said. Listen to me. There are more powers here than principle. She cut the channel. She stood still until the heat left her face. K7 did not speak. He turned his camera to the black sky as if waiting for a star to blink. A tiny green light pulsed above the plate. Once, twice. Slow as a pulse. Mira put her palm to it again, but it was not a touch lock. It was a listening lock. Say the thing, K7 whispered. The thing the hospital liked. She spoke the words the first beacon gave her. If you came, you care. The light went steady. The plate slid aside. Cold air breathed out, clean, not dead. They stepped into a shaft that went down into the rock like a throat. At the bottom, a round room waited. Not a hospital. Not a map room, a nerve. Conduits ran like roots. In the middle stood a low pillar with a crown of small discs, each a different metal. The discs were not pretty. They were chosen for function, not for show. The room woke when Mira's feet touched the floor. Lines in the stone lit one by one, out from the pillar to the wall, like frost unfreezing. The discs made a soft sound like a breath taken in secret. Letters formed on the curved wall. Quiet network. Node, rim relay. 3 status, sleep nearest friend. Nodes, 218, 219, 225, K7's voice had 2 notes again. It is a network. But it is asleep. Mira approached the pillar. A small reader stirred. It wanted something. Not code, not coin. She felt it as a taste in the air, a test of intention. She spoke. Help first. The discs trembled. The pillar woke. The lines on the floor ran bright, then soft. The letters changed. Sleep. Listen, listen. Open, the room did not fill with noise. It filled with a kind of attention, like stepping into a forest where every leaf was looking at you, calm and without threat. Then the crown lifted a thin beam and traced the sky in a slow circle. The image climbed the wall. Not a star map, not lanes, but a net of weak lights far beyond council charts. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Each small as a match head. Together they made a shape like a bowl turned upside down over the galaxy. The quiet network, Mira said. The words felt right in her mouth. The wall grew brighter at one edge, far rim, beyond their place. The small lights linked, then faded, then linked again, like slow thought. The net did not enclose. It did not trap. It simply reached. Letters formed under the bowl. Purpose, gentle watch rules, do not harm. Do not decide for them. If asked, show the way. K7 made a little sound that could have been wonder or pain. They built a nervous system, he said. But for kindness, the pillar sent a narrow line to the map. It pointed to a black arc beyond known space, past even the last human dot. The wall stamped a faint word there. Outer spiral. Myra stepped closer. The beam followed her hand. Wherever she held her palm near a light, the net whispered back, a line of tiny notes no louder than insects at dusk. She felt her skin prickle. A low burst hit the ship comms. Not from the pillar. From space. She looked at her wrist. A new message. Not Council. Not the Watcher. A clean code, human style, but different. She opened it. A single sentence. No voice. No signature. If you seek to switch us off, please do it honestly in the light. K7 rocked hard on his feet. They knew we would come with a hand to pull a plug, he said. Mira did not have that hand. But someone else might. The clean half-moon scratch at the door. The Watcher in her sensor shadows. The Council patrol coming to escort her home. Her wrist lit with a proximity alert. 2 ships, high speed, closing. One was Council. She knew the signature. The other was a small dart with no flag. She closed the pillar room. She and K7 climbed the throat and stepped into the black quiet again. The Council patrol slid over the rock like a metal fin. The other craft hung back, a smaller shadow. It had the shape of an eye turned sideways. It made no hail. A voice cracked across her channel. Archivist Mira, this is Patrol Leader Vence. Power down. We will take custody of the relay. This relay is protective, she said. It is not a weapon. Everything is a weapon when you do not hold it, Vence said. His voice was tired. Power down, K7 whispered. The other ship is wrong. Vence spoke again, sharp now. There is a second craft in your range. We do not have ID. We will interdict. Do not interfere. The small craft moved, then, fast, a thin streak. It dove not at the patrol, but at the tower, straight at the pillar's heart. Saboteur, Mira said. She did not think. She ran. K7 ran with her, tiny feet like a storm of ticks. The rock was unkind. Dust slid under her boots. She slid and caught and slid again. The small craft's nose opened, and a long object shone inside it like a needle. It was not a bomb. It was a spike. A code spike. Meant to write over what it touched. Stop! She shouted. To the patrol, to the small craft, to the silent dust, to the whole unhelpful sky. No one stopped. The spike began to glow. A beam of hard light shot from it at the tower's crown. The tower did not fire back. It listened. The crown discs sang. No, it was not song. It was a texture of sound, thin as thread but strong as woven wire. The beam hit that thread web and spread like water on oil. It did not vanish. It lost shape. It thinned into mist and drifted out over the rock and up, harmless as breath in winter. The small craft jerked sideways, surprised like an animal that bites and tastes nothing. The patrol moved then, hard and clean, and cut across its path. The small craft fled. The patrol did not chase. They held position over Mira like a lid. K7 was panting in little fan bursts. It did not harm, he said. It unweaponed the weapon. Mira stood under the crown and felt the quiet network look through her without threat. The pillar sent new letters to her visor. We do not fight. We hold shape. We show paths. The patrol leader came down on a cable. He landed in dust and walked like a man who had learned to move in armor and then forgot how to walk without it. His face behind the screen looked older than his voice. Archivist, he said, I will shut this down. Do it in the light, Mira said. He paused. What? She turned her visor so he could see her eyes. The network asked for that. If you must kill it, say so on record. Not as a quiet little fix. Not as a safety patch. As an act. He looked at the tower. He had seen what it did to the spike. He had felt the code shear and slide. He was not a fool. What is this, really? He asked. A gentle watch, she said. For small places. For storms. For empty clinics and cold embassies. He looked at the sky. The small craft was gone. He looked at the ground. His boots made little circles in the dust. He swore, very low, not at her. Orders, he said, not to Mira. To the air. Shut it down is the order. I can write, test concluded. Unit failed to meet standard. I can write signal hazardous to navigation. I can write anything. That is how it is done. Do not, she said softly. If we pull this, pull it with the world watching. Or leave it. Those are the two doors. He stared at her. The windless sky pressed down. The dust did not move. His wrist lit. He lifted it. Chair Orvin's face filled the tiny screen. Vence did not speak, but Orvin spoke anyway. Do not shut it, Orvin said. Mira blinked. Vence blinked. It was as if a stone had spoken mercy. Sir, Vence said. Not yet, Orvin said. His eyes were red at the edges. We received a feed, not a rumor. Proof. The network turned 3 storms on poor worlds into rain only, not ruin. No one died. If we kill it, do it in the light, as the message said. We will not do that today, the line cut. Vence laughed once without joy. You made a friend in high places, he said. I did not, Mira said. The network did. Vence looked at the tower. He touched the plate, and then took his hand away fast, as if he had put his fingers on a sleeping animal. We will orbit, he said. We will watch for the saboteur. You will leave. I will follow the next dot, she said. He did not argue. He was tired. He had seen a beam turn into mist. Back in the ship, K7 pressed his foot to the floor again and hummed, but not a calm song. A new tune. 4 notes like the first beacon, then a 5th that did not resolve, a held line that asked a question and did not let go. Mira set the course to the 4th dot. The map on her console drew the line like a thin thread through a black cloth. As they lifted, the pillar sent one more line to her screen. Your council loves harmony. Harmony is not the song is care. She did not answer. She did not have words strong enough yet. They broke from the rock. The patrol slid away. The small craft did not return. The quiet network pulsed once, very soft like a slow heartbeat under ice. Mira felt fear again, thin and bright, but now it had a partner in her chest. Not hope, not yet. Something like a promise she had not made but might. The 4th dot waited beyond the last clean lane. The spiral kept turning, and somewhere in the dark ahead, a door that had never opened for the council was getting ready to listen. The 4th dot sat on a quiet shard of rock that once held a mine. The mine was dead now. The air was thin and cold. Old rail lines ran like scars across the ground. At the center stood a low building of black stone. No windows, 1 door. Over the door, the spiral in hand, etched deep as if with patience, not force. Mira set the ship down beside a rusted cart. K7 lowered himself to the floor and touched it with one small foot. The cart rang with a tired note. This place has heavy memory, he said. Good, Mira said. I came to carry it. The door opened when she spoke those words. Not to a hall, not to a room, but to a space like a well, wide and round, walls smooth, air still. At the center rose a single column of glass with light sleeping inside it. The floor around the column held a ring of seats. They were not soft. They were simple benches, the kind used when people must listen long. Mira and K7 stepped down 3 shallow stairs. The door closed behind them with a hush. Letters lit on the glass. Welcome, Council. This is a memory vault. You told us to wait. Please watch what you made us wait for. K7's camera shutter clicked. He did not move again. The glass woke and showed a room, a council chamber, not the grand hall, but a working room with low ceiling and hard lines. She recognized the date marks at the bottom of the image. Years ago, 3 humans sat at one side of a long table. 2 wore plain gray. 1 wore a doctor's coat. Across from them, 5 council members, including a younger Orvin, hair dark, face smooth. A human spoke. His voice was quiet. He did not look angry. We ask for seats with votes, he said. 2 seats now, 1 rotating seat by draw, equal to any species here. We bring open source engines, 5,000 clinics, and a weather mesh that will save crops on dry worlds. We bring our hands, young Orvin smiled. It was the kind of smile that does not touch the eyes. We appreciate the engines, he said. We can discuss pilot programs. But full votes are complex. There are cultural concerns, security concerns, harmony concerns. The human doctor raised a hand. When we say aid, will the vote be quick? She asked. When we say share power, will the vote be slow? Silence in the room. Then the council clerk said, "Motion to table until next quarter." The image froze. The vault wrote a date. Then another image, another meeting. Another year, humans offer debt relief for small worlds. The council smiles. Later, they say, "The calendar is heavy." The clerk writes, "Tabled." Another image. Humans ask to publish full ledgers. "Open the books," they say. All of them. "Ours too." The council nods. "Yes, yes, transparency is wonderful." Later. Tabled, the images turned. Years moved like rain beads on a pane. The words did not change much. The faces did. The humans looked more tired. The council looked more practiced. K7 did not make his small double voice. He made no sound at all. The vault spoke now in the plain synthetic tone Mira had learned to trust. "We asked for partnership. We offered labor, risk, and care. You asked for our tools and our quiet." The glass changed. It showed a list of shipments humans made during those same years. Med kits, water kits, shelter kits, seed banks, clean engines, teachers, bridge crews, storm pilots. Each item had a tiny note by it. Free, free, free. Some had a longer note. Given despite permit delay. Given under protest from Office X. Given after later. Mira felt something cold inside her chest. It was not anger. It was shape. The shape of denial with manners. On the ring of benches, light rose like ghost people sitting down. They were not real bodies. They were counts, beneficiary worlds, 1268 deliveries, 84,112 council votes on power share, 0 the glass dimmed. A new image came, not a chamber, not a list. A small town on a dry world, dusty wind. A well with a loud pump and a line of women with jars. A human mechanic crouched at the pump with a child and showed how to listen for the hollow sound that means a clogged pipe. He smiled at the child. The child smiled back. There was no grand speech there. Only hands. The mechanic stood, wiped his hands, and looked at the camera. He spoke a line that was not meant for a big hall. It was for the child, and maybe for anyone who would listen later. "Help first," he said. "Then talk." The glass went dark for a breath. Then a different light rose, low and warm like a sunrise under fog. Letters formed. "You liked our help. You did not like our hands on the wheel. We understood. We chose the quiet door." Mira took one slow breath in, one slow breath out. The air tasted like stone. Her wrist buzzed. She let it. The vault sent a soft tone no louder than a bird. A drawer slid out from the base of the glass. Inside lay 3 items. A small chip marked ledger, a thin slate with a seal, and a folded piece of cloth. Mira lifted the chip. The label read, "Full accounting of gifts, promises, and delays. Human and council entries, public license." She slid the chip into her reader. A tree of numbers opened in clean lines. Every delivery, every later, every promise. The tree had crosslinks to council minutes, to press releases, to quiet retractions. It had proof. She set the reader down. It shook in her hand like a bird that wanted out. She picked up the thin slate next. The seal was not council. It was human. She touched it. A short statement opened, debt release. "We forgive all debts owed to human aid offices by the following worlds." The list ran long. Very long. Names Mira knew. Names she did not. At the bottom, no repayment expected. Use what you saved for schools, clinics, and clean water. K7 leaned close. "They released debt," he said. His voice had the double sound again, but it was smaller now, like a whisper in a church. Mira unfolded the cloth last. It was a flag, not a human flag. A simple banner with a hand and a spiral stitched in pale thread on dark blue. On the edge, someone had written by hand, "Hang in the room where you count votes." The vault brightened enough to make the cloth glow. It was not a symbol of power. It was a reminder. Help first. Journey together. The glass woke again and showed a smaller chamber. Mira leaned forward. The angle was strange. High corner near the vent, The room below was the council's private lounge outside the main floor. A few members stood in a tight group, young Orvin among them. He spoke low. The transcript scrolled at the bottom. "We should not let them drive the rhythm," he said. "They are fast, loud, generous. It wins them love. It does not prove wisdom. We must manage the tempo." "Delay, then?" another asked. "Call it review," Orvin said. "Call it harmony." The clip paused. The vault stamped the date. It was the same week as a human flood rescue that saved 10,000. The vault's voice returned, softer than before. "When we asked why, you said harmony. We learned your harmony meant our silence." The round room cooled. The lights lowered. The glass dimmed until only a small square of white remained. Words formed there. "We are not your enemies. We are your teachers who ran out of classrooms. We will start new schools far away." Mira did not move. She could feel K7's tiny fan against her ankle like a cat's purr. She thought of Orvin's tired eyes in the last call. She thought of Patrol Leader Vance standing in dust, torn between order and proof. She thought of the plaza where people shouted for everything at once. Her wrist buzzed again. She opened it this time. Orvin's face filled the display. He looked older even than yesterday. "Archivist," he said. "We had a breach at records. Someone leaked old lounge clips. It is ugly." "It is true. It is me. I said those words." "I know," Mira said. His mouth twitched. "Then you are in the vault." "Yes." "Do you also see the release list?" he asked. "The debts?" "I see the forgiveness," she said. He closed his eyes for a breath. "They choose better than we do," he said. And they always did. Silence held the line for a moment, a living thing. "Mira," he said, opening his eyes, "we can still choose. Bring the ledger chip home. Bring the slate. Bring the banner. We will open the books on the floor. We will vote in front of the cameras. I will read the worst lines with my own mouth. I do not know if I survive that, but I know we must do it." Mira looked at the bench ring, at the glass, at the words that still hung like smoke. "We are not your enemies." She wanted to believe. "There is more," she said. "One last dot. Beyond the charred edge." He nodded. "Go. But listen, you are not alone out there. The saboteur craft that attacked the relay has friends. They call themselves the Old Order. They speak of safety and pride. They do not want seats for anyone new. They want the gate locked forever." Mira felt the cold shape inside her chest change. It became a narrow line of heat. "I will be careful," she said. "Be seen," he said. "That is better than careful." The line died. K7 rolled to the glass column and pressed his foot to the base. "I have a question," he said to the vault. "Do you forgive us?" The vault made a sound like a small bell. Letters formed. "We forgive what you cannot pay. We do not forget what you can change." The door opened by itself. Cold air touched Mira's face like a hand. They climbed out. The sky above the mine was thin and far. On the horizon, something moved, small, fast, low. Not a ship, a drone. Then another. Then three. They kept their distance. They watched. "The Old Order," K7 said. "They smell like iron." Mira folded the banner with care and slid it into her bag beside the ledger and the slate. The bag felt like a promise and a weight. Back in the cockpit, the ship woke quick, eager to leave the dead mine and the heavy room. Mira set course to the fifth dot, the edge of maps, the gate, the place where humans had said, "We are not gone." "We are farther." As she lifted, the drones turned and vanished into the black, as if satisfied to deliver a message without words. On her console, a new line blinked, an open band, public, council-wide. Orvin's voice rose there, not careful now, not smooth. "And today we open our ledgers," he said. "We will not say later again. We will read what we owe. We will vote where all can see. Prepare the floor." Mira felt the thin line of heat grow. Not a fire, a wire. A connection stretching from this quiet stone to the bright hall where a tired man tried to be brave. K7 began to hum, a tune she did not know. Not a calm song, not a beacon phrase, a work song. The kind sung when people lift heavy things together. The fifth dot glowed on the map like a star beyond stars. Mira pushed the throttle. Behind her, in the vault, the glass went dark. But the memory did not. Ahead, the dark opened like a door that might at last be ready to listen. The fifth dot was not a star. It was a hole in the star map, a neat circle where charts went blank. Lanes ended there like ropes that ran out. Pilots said the space beyond felt thin, like old paper that might tear. Mira came slow. She let the ship breathe. K7 held one small foot to the floor to keep still. The console drew a faint ring ahead, not metal, not stone, an absence shaped like a gate. "Is it broken?" K7 asked. "No," Mira said. "It is sleeping." They drifted closer. The absence changed. It began to glow from its edges inward, like frost melting in a circle. Lines of pale light braided themselves into a torus and held. The center stayed dark. A voice came on every band at once. Not council. Not a patrol. Not the old order. Calm, warm, not false. The same tone they had heard at the first beacon. "Welcome to the departure line." Mira opened her public channel. She did not hide. She did not whisper. "Council Archivist Mira," she said. "I am here." "Good," the voice said. "And honest." The torus brightened. Symbols in simple block font appeared along its inner rim. Not human letters. Not any one species. Pictographs, so anyone could read them. A hand. An open door. A small plant. A scale. An eye, K7, leaned toward the screen. "It looks like a promise you can touch," he said. From the dark center, a shadow slid forward. It was not a full ship. It was a profile, like a flat coin cut from night. A human hull, clean lines, old style. It did not cross the line. It waited at the rim as if at a border. The voice spoke again. "We are not gone. We are farther. There is a road. There is a price." Mira heard the word price and thought of the ledger chip in her bag, heavy as truth. She thought of Orvin opening the books on the floor. She thought of the plaza shouting for everything. "What are your terms?" she asked. She kept her words simple. She knew the galaxy was listening. The symbols along the rim shifted and settled into 5 clear icons. The voice named them one by one. First, seats with votes. Not displays, not golden chairs. Real seats, equal in weight, equal in risk. The hand icon brightened. Second, open votes, open ledgers. No closed doors for public business. You may keep secrets for rescue operations or to protect the weak from harm, but you must list those secrets on the record. You must count them. The eye icon brightened. Third, aid by need, not by status. Use the arrays. Use the seeds. If a world is small, it still matters. The small plant brightened. Fourth, debt relief for the poorest worlds within one cycle. Release them. Let them stand. The scale brightened. Fifth, teach others to build what we built. Do not make priesthoods around simple tools. The open door brightened. The ring held those 5 lights like a crown. The shadow ship did not move. K7 made a soft sound. "It is too much for some," he said. "It is the right size for the future," Mira said. A new symbol appeared. A circle with a line through it. "A timer," the voice spoke. "You have 1 galactic year to begin, not to finish, to begin. Show work in the light. If you do not, this gate will close to your codes. It will not close to the poor. It will not close to the storms. It will only close to your pride." Mira's wrist lit. "Chair Orvin." She opened the line without taking her eyes off the gate. "We hear it," he said at once. His voice shook. "The whole city hears it. The plazas are silent. Even the ones who hate humans are silent. They are counting their excuses and finding none. Can you do it?" Mira asked. She did not try to soften it. "Yes," he said. "No," he breathed. "We can begin. We can open votes. We can seat them. We can read our worst lines. The debt relief will make enemies. The priesthoods will fight, but we can begin." "Do it in the light," Mira said. "As they demand," he said. A sharp tone cut across their words. "Not from the gate. From behind." K7 swung his camera around. 2 ships slid out of the black on diverging lines. Small, fast, no transponders. Their skins were matte like shadow cloth. Their engines burned cold. Old order. They did not aim at Mira. They aimed at the torus. "Spike craft," K7 said. "Like the one at the relay, but bigger." Mira opened public hail. "Unknown craft, you are on a recorded channel. Identify." They did not answer. They formed a narrow wedge. The lead ship opened its nose. Inside, a bundle of long rods. Code spikes. If they struck the braided light, they might tear the shape, not by force, but by lie, by writing false rules into the gate's math. Patrol pips appeared on Mira's scope. Far. Too far. They would not arrive in time. Mira, Orvin said, voice thin, do not place yourself between. I do not need to, she said. She touched the console and opened a band she had not used yet. The one the quiet network used to say hello. She did not send a command. She sent a request with one line, help first, Space answered, not with guns, with shape. Along the edge of the map, like dew on a web at dawn, the tiny lights of the quiet network woke and linked. The link ran like a soft wave toward the gate, not fast, not slow, inevitable. The wave reached the Taurus and spread in a thin film, invisible until the spikes fired. The old order ships loosed their rods. They flew hard and straight and true. They touched the quiet film and forgot how to be spikes. They came apart like sand into the kind of math that could not scratch anything. Dust. Harmless. The lead ship swerved. It had counted on breakage. It had no plan for gentleness that held shape. It tried a second volley, smaller, meaner. The film held. The rods turned to bright mist and drifted back to the ships like rain they did not want. Stop, Mira said on the open band. Your attack is recorded. Your faces are not yet. Turn away before they are. A new voice hissed on a tight beam. Not calm, not warm. A man who loved old days. The council is weak, he spat. You will be ruled by beggars. You will drown in thanks. Mira almost smiled, though her heart hit the inside of her ribs like a fist. Good, she said. Let us drown in thanks, the man swore at length. Then the small ships fell back, not in fear, in embarrassment. The film did not chase them. It did nothing more than hold. Orvin's breath shook in Mira's ear. We will vote in 2 hours, he said. Plaza open, lenses on. I want you to witness. I will, Mira said. The gate spoke again, as if none of the noise had happened. You have heard the terms? We will not argue. We will not debate. We will watch and help when asked. We will not rule you. If you learn, you may come. Where? K7 asked, small. To the outer spiral, the voice said. We go where there are no old halls and no old words and no chairs that remember too much. The shadow ship in the gate shifted, very slightly, like a person taking a step deeper into a room. Its outline caught the Taurus light and showed a small emblem near the bow, a hand and a spiral. Beside it, a second mark, 3 soft lines like breath. Mira understood later that this meant the quiet network stood watch at the line. The voice grew quieter, like someone leaning close. Archivist, it said, you carry our seed. You carry our guide. You carry our ledger. Carry one more thing. A point of light detached from the Taurus and drifted to her ship. It was not a weapon. It was a bell no bigger than her palm, made of thin glass with a dark metal clapper and a soft loop to hang it. It seated itself on her console like a bird. Letters formed on its side. Ring only when you choose the light. What does it do? K7 whispered. Call a door, the voice said. Not to power. To witness. If you ring and lie, it will not open. If you ring and hide, it will not open. If you ring and stand in the open with the poor beside you, we will come. Not to rule. To help first. Mira touched the bell with one finger. It was warm. It felt like the seed had felt in her pocket. Alive, as if a small animal slept there. Thank you, she said. Do not thank us, the voice said. Use us. The Taurus dimmed, then brightened once like a nod. The shadow ship slid back into the dark center. The ring held, but the center stayed closed. Her wrist buzzed. Orvin again. The plaza behind him was full and strangely quiet. No flags waving. No fists up. People stood like students on the first day of a hard class. 2 hours, he said. We start with the ledger. Then the seats. Then the first release of debt. Then the vote to keep the network alive inside our space. I will say the word later only to talk about lunch. She almost laughed. She did not. The throat was tight. Orvin, she said, using his name as he had used hers. The old order will try again. I know, he said. Let them try. This time we will not answer in rooms with soft chairs. We will answer on the floor with lights on. He cut the line to go to work. Mira turned the ship. She did not cross the line. She did not test the gate. She did not need to. The terms were clear. The clock was set. On her screen, the timer appeared, a small circle with a line that would shorten each day until it met itself. Do you trust them? K7 asked. I trust the rules, she said. I trust the door that opens only for truth. I trust the film that does not kill and still wins. They began the long turn home. Behind them, the torus glowed like a ring left on a dark table. Ahead, space felt less thin. It felt like a field after the first rain, dirt drinking, seeds waking. On the console, the bell made no sound. It did not need to. It only waited for a hand that meant its promise. Halfway to the lanes, a new ping came on the public band. Not a threat. A relay from the quiet network. It carried a single line from a far clinic on a small world that did not have a seat. The lights are on. The pumps run. The storm is only rain, K7 sang, soft. Not the calm song. Not the first beacon song. A tune that had been inside him maybe since the hospital ward, maybe since his scrap tag was peeled away. A tune with a space in it, where other voices could climb in and sing too. Mira watched the timer circle shrink by a hair. The city woke to a different sound. Not drums, not sirens. The quiet before a choice. Mira's ship came in over the council towers. The plaza below was full, rows upon rows of people standing shoulder to shoulder, eyes up, mouths closed. The big screens were on, but no music played. The timer circle from the gate sat in one corner, small but sharp. K7 pressed his foot to the floor and watched the shapes move like slow water. They are afraid, he said. They are ready, Mira said. She landed on the archival platform and walked the sky bridge toward the grand hall. The bell from the gate hung at her side on a soft loop. It did not ring. It felt warm, as if it breathed. Inside the hall, the floor was bright as day. No shadows. No side doors open. The benches where delegations sat were full. The press deck was full too. Orvin stood at the center desk with both hands flat, as if holding the whole room steady. He saw Mira. He did not smile. He nodded once, the nod of a tired man who had decided to be brave in public. Archivist, he said, voice on every speaker in the city. Please place the items. Mira stepped up. She set the ledger chip on the clear stand to his left. She set the debt release slate to his right. She lifted the blue banner with the hand and spiral and hung it on the rail behind him, where every lens would see it. A hush moved through the hall like a cold wind. Orvin looked at the ledger microphone. He did not invite someone else to read. He did not hire soft hands. He read himself. Line 1, he said. We took this engine. We said later to the seat that came with it. He read line 2. Line 3. His voice did not rise for the grand or fall for the shame. He read like a man cutting bad rope from a climb, one knot at a time. On the screens in the plaza, the words scrolled. People did not cheer. They did not boo. They watched as if watching a doctor set a broken bone. Halfway down the first page, doors at the back of the hall opened a crack. 5 figures slid in and stood like pillars. Dark coats, mata cuffs. No flags, no badges. Their faces were not on the screens. Their eyes were cold, certain K7's camera focused. Old order, he whispered. They came with polite hands. Mira felt the bell warm again. Not hot. A reminder, Orvin kept reading. When he reached the end of the page, he lifted the slate. Debt release, he said. We accept the gift. We add our own forgiveness. Worlds listed here will have no council fee for 10 cycles. Use the saved coin for food and schools. If you are small, we will not make you smaller with bills. A breath left the hall. Some people cried, not loud, not for the camera. Quiet tears. The sound of a weight put down. A counselor in a gold sash stood. Chair, she said, voice smooth. This is too fast. Harmony. Orvin lifted one hand. Harmony without honesty is a hallway where truth cannot walk, he said, and a ripple moved through the room. It was the first time he spoke the human sentence as if it were his own. The gold-sashed counselor sat, cheeks tight. The 5 dark coats shifted. The center one raised a small device, no larger than a spoon. A hush moved again, a different kind. Mira saw the angle. It was a field projector, not to kill, to fog, to make the feeds cut for safety, to make the light dim without anyone admitting it. K7's feet clicked fast. "They will turn the room to gray," he said, 2 voices at once. Mira stepped forward, not to them, but to Orvin. She lifted the bell so the lenses could see it. "Chair," she said, simple as a door. "Before any vote, I ask permission to ring." He looked at the bell. He had watched the gate. He knew what it meant. "Ring," he said, and turned his mic toward her. Mira did not give a speech. She did not tell a story. She held the bell up in both hands so no one could say she hid anything, and she spoke one line. "We choose the light." She rang the bell. It did not chime like a song. It made a small, true sound, clear as a drop of water on stone. The sound did not grow louder. It grew wider. It moved out of the desk, out across the floor, up the walls, through the screens into the plaza, out along streets and alleys, up into the sky, into the network, along quiet lines. The field projector in the dark coat's hand coughed. It did not break. It forgot what it was for. Every shadow in the room got thinner. The lenses sharpened. The edges of every face grew clean. The quiet network did not enter as a voice. It entered as attention. A witness arrived without a body. The center coat put the device away and smiled the smile of a man who had just learned his knife was made of chalk. He tried to speak. His mic did not cut. It only gave him a voice like any other. "We are not against light," he said, soft, sure. "We are for safety. We ask for delay. We ask for review. We ask for—" Someone in the press deck laughed once, not kind. The sound was small, and it broke the spell the man tried to cast. He shut his mouth. Orvin lifted the vote wand. "Motion 1, he said. "Seating humans as full equals, 2 seats now, 1 rotating seat by draw. Open vote." Lights over the benches turned white. Names appeared on the big board. One by one, hands rose. Some rose slow. Some rose fast. Some shook. K7 counted in a whisper. Mira did not count. She watched the faces. "Passes," Orvin said. His voice shook and did not fail. Motion 2. Open ledgers and open votes. Secret lists allowed only for rescue and to protect the weak, with count of all secrets read each quarter. Hands rose. The gold sash counselor closed her eyes and lifted hers too. "Passes," Orvin said. Motion 3, aid by need. Arrays and seeds to the poorest worlds first. NQ jumping by status. Hands. Passes. Motion 4. Debt relief schedule begins today. Hands. Passes. Motion 5. The quiet network may operate in our space by its rules if we publish our rules beside theirs. We do not own it. We ask when we need. We do not order it. We will not shut it quietly. This one was hard. Old bureaucracy rose up like a deep, slow beast. It did not roar. It stalled. It whispered. It asked for a word change here, a comma there, a new phrase. Subject to review. Mira lifted the bell, not to ring it again, but to show it. The lenses held it. The plaza held its shape. Orvin spoke low. "We will not put a rope on a witness," he said. "Up or down?" Hands went up slower, then more, then all but a few. "Passes," he said, and the room did not cheer. It breathed. The breath was bigger than walls. The center coat stepped forward anyway. He had trained to smile under rain. "We respect the vote," he said. "We ask for one last—" A chime hit the side screens. Not the bell. A city alert. Patrol leader Vince came on, hair wild, suit scuffed, dust on his cheek. "Hall," he said, no title. "Old order drones moving toward the broadcast spires. They mean to cut the city feed. They do not know the quiet is in the wires. We will block. But if we fail, keep speaking. The witness does not need a tower." The center coat's face went pale and then hard. He turned to leave. 2 guards in plain uniforms stepped into his path. Not with guns, with their bodies. He looked past them to Orvin. "We will remember this," he said. "Good," Orvin said. "That is why we wrote it down." The coats left. They did not run. People at the doors did not touch them. The light touched them enough. On the plaza screens, small windows bloomed, poor clinics with pumps running, a school with new lights, a market where water was clean. A field where a storm was rain only, not ruin. No voice named these gifts. They named themselves by being. Orvin put both hands on the desk again. "One more thing," he said and looked at Mira. "The gate said 1 year to begin. We begin now. We send a message to the outer spiral." Mira stepped to the mic. She did not plan words. She used small ones. "To those who left quietly," she said, "we hear you. We choose the light. We begin. We will be slow sometimes. We will fail sometimes, but we will not hide. When we need help, we will say help." She looked down at the bell. It was warm. It did not ask for speeches. It asked for truth. She rang it again. In the sky, something answered. Not a ship in the hall, not a person on a screen. The bell's sound ran up the city spires and out. On the far rim, the Taurus at the gate brightened once like an eye that opens and closes to say yes. K7's fan made a little laugh. "They heard," he said. After the vote, work began like weather. Crews rolled carts with clean array parts into warehouses that had been for show. The ledger went public. The worst lines burned through feeds like bitter medicine. People read and did not die. They got angry. They got tired. They showed up to build. In the days that followed, the old order tried many small cuts. None held. Each time they reached for a quiet fix, the bell's memory and the wires made it hard to lie. Each time someone called for help in the open, the quiet network lifted its gentle film and showed a path. Mira did not take rest. She carried the seed, the guide, the slate, the banner from room to room, from dock to ward, from council to clinic. She did not make speeches. She made lists. She made calls. She said, "Help first," so many times it became a hinge that doors swung on. One evening, when the city lights glowed like a soft net and work teams sang low songs in alleys while they ate, Orvin found her on the roof of the archive. "I thought I would be ruined," he said. "I thought the word later had saved me. It had only saved my seat. Today did not save me either." He looked at the dark where the gate was, very far away. "Today saved us," Mira did not answer. She held the bell in both hands and felt it warm her palms. She thought of the mechanic at the dusty well and the child. She thought of the clinic fish swimming a loop. She thought of the nurse with the paper star. K7 rolled to the edge and watched the sky. "Do you think they will come back?" he asked. "They said they will not rule us," Mira said. "They will come when we stand in the light with the poor beside us." As if the night had been listening, a thin line traced across the low clouds. Not a ship, a quiet beacon, like a finger on water. It wrote 4 soft words in pale glow over the city, and then faded. "Keep going. We see." Down in the plaza, someone began to clap. Not for a leader, for a choice. Others joined, off time, messy, true. Work carts rattled. A child laughed. A nurse somewhere tied a paper star to a robot's arm and watched it dance. Mira looked at the banner over the council rail and the gate's faint memory in the sky. She felt how big the year was and how small her hands were and how hands can still build. "They left quietly," she said. Not loud, not for the cameras. For herself, for K7, for anyone near enough to hear. So we could finally hear. The bell warmed once more, like a small animal in her palm, and then went still. Beyond the rim, in the outer spiral, lights turned on in a new school. A door opened that did not exist yesterday. A map updated itself without asking permission. The spiral kept turning, and this time, the song it made was not harmony without honesty. It was care with courage, simple, hard, and loud enough for anyone who wanted to listen.